Hello there. The centre-right of UK politics is fractured. So this is something we must talk about, because we face another term of hard left socialist Marxism if we don't find a solution. And this has further stirred up the right of centre politics. According to the FT, Nigel Farage is secretly brokering a political deal with the Tories. And here's what they say. Nigel Farage tells donors he expects Reform UK will do an election deal with Tories. Right-wing populist party could pursue a merger or pact with the Conservatives. Now, the FT report suggests that Farage is not sure he can win an overall majority at the next general election. So he's manoeuvring for a deal with the Tories so he can form the next government as long as he does get the most seats on a party level. But Farage himself has come out fighting, saying in an ex-post, "A false story in the FT tonight claims Reform would do a deal with the Tories. After 14 years of dishonesty and lies, they should never be forgiven. The idea I'd work with them is ludicrous. They betrayed my trust in 2019, and we will ensure they cease to be a national party in May." But would the FT have published this without some evidence to back it up? Or are they stirring the pot to give the woke left the edge? Anyway, straight away, Farage's opponents have come out saying that his party is full of former Tories, Tory 2.0, citing names like Anderson, Kruger, Jenkins, Gullis, Dorries, Widdicombe, Berry and Jones, etc. And the Advance UK leader Ben Habib said on X in response, "Garbage from Nigel Farage. He denies wanting a deal with the Tories while accepting he wants to take over the Tory party. That is a deal. Either way, Reform is Tory. Truth is the Tories already control Reform, from councillors to failed MPs to current MPs. Reform is Tories. Farage is selling the country down the drain." Oh, and a spoof X account, that of Sir Michael Take, self-proclaimed leader or former Tory MP for Dorset East, said the following. "Haha, Nigel, we're gradually taking over your party from within. Danny Kruger, Jonathan Gullis, Nadine Dorries. By the time of the next election, we will be in charge of your party, old boy, and you'll be stuck in Clacton, unable to stop us. Ha ha ha!" So, yes, there you have that one. Oh, by the way, that particular account, which is taking the Michael Take, has in the past taken the Daily Mail in as well. But seriously, does all this matter? I think it does. And there is so much to unpack, isn't there, Richard?
Indeed. I mean, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, and let's be honest here, why it'd be rather strange if he wasn't trying to broker a deal with the Tories. Now, not that I want him to broker a deal with the Tories, but it'd be strange if he didn't. Because if he's not facing an overall majority, he could be looking at the prospect, in the next general election, of a coalition between Labour, the Greens and the Lib Dems, Plaid and the SNP. Don't think it wouldn't happen. They would do that just to keep Reform out. That is something that would happen. Have no doubt of it. So, but do you trust Nigel Farage on this anyway? It's like either he's going to be pleasing the donors or he's going to be pleasing the voters and the supporters. It's like he's giving one message to all the money men and another, for the grassroots, which, this is sort of classic sort of gaslighting establishment behaviour. And it's pretending to be like this sort of outsider politics. I'm not so sure on that one. But there's that one word that keeps cropping up, that people are mentioning, saying that a merger with the Tories is inevitable. And I mean, in some ways, we all want the right to unite. It's just who's going to lead it. And that's the thing. Who do you want to lead the right? Because otherwise, you're going to be in, Nick Clegg territory, aren't you, really? Where there you are, representing one political party while sustaining and being part of a government that is pushing forward a very different agenda to your own ideological beliefs. Or so you'd think. So the charade goes. Over to you, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is a difficult situation because on this channel we have Reform, Advance, Restore, and even Tories who watch this channel. Now, we would rather a coming together than a massive bust-up leading to permanent socialist rule. But bear in mind, apart from the Tories, at the moment, only Reform can field candidates and win elections. Right now, Advance UK is not registered with the Electoral Commission to stand candidates in elections. If there was an election tomorrow, there would be no Advance UK candidates. Restore, under Rupert Lowe, is not a party. He said he's not making a party. It's a pressure group more than a party. So they're not going to stand any candidates. You may want to vote for Rupert Lowe. You can scrawl his name on as many ballot papers as you like and put an X next to it. That's a spoilt ballot. Done. The only people that can win elections are those who are standing in them. End of conversation. That's as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what you say about other things. The only reason UKIP did so well was because they stood in elections. And although they were a pressure group, because they stood in elections, they were always a threat to the Tories. Hence why we got the referendum. If they hadn't have stood candidates, that would never have happened. So it's really important to bear that in mind. But what frightens me is by Nigel Farage coming out and saying this in such a direct manner, does it put the mockers on any right-wing amalgamation at all? Are people going to stand back and say, well, it's just his way or no way? Or what? Or, I mean, what would have happened if he'd said, well, I'll talk to anybody? And these are the problems we have in politics today, isn't it? So I don't know. We have to talk about it. Doesn't matter where you are on this spectrum.
Yeah. I totally agree. And these are conversations that need to be had from now until the next general election, because that could be sooner than we think it could, or there might not be one. That's the other side of it. Yeah. Rosemary has actually got a good point. I've got other things to worry about at the moment. Absolutely. I mean, this is the funny thing about all this. Here we are talking about hypotheticals on what Farage is doing, but at the same time, there is a world going on out there, a world which is crumbling, a United Kingdom that is crumbling. And I highly recommend as well watching Bob of Speaker's Corner's interview on the Winston Marshall show. That was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I watched that and I thought, now that's the sort of politics I'm interested in. He's saying the things that where there is a conflict between a Christian faith and being a patriotic Brit, this is where the disconnect is removed. He married the two together quite eloquently last night. I was very impressed with it, by the way. Yeah, incredible.
Yes. I will just point out that he puts Christianity above country, so that
correct.
And the country has to fit in with Christianity.
Correct.
But that's the same with all religions. All religions put their religion above a country.
Yes, and this is a Christian nation, so we have to do that. Absolutely. That is what has to happen. Faith before... we have to remember that this country was built upon Christianity. It wasn't the other way around, Our culture, I don't care what anyone says, if you haven't got Christianity as the cornerstone of your country, that's it, it's over. We've seen what happens. Look, secularism came in, said, we can have an age of reason. Oh, and look where we're at now. Demographic replacement. A vacuum was created. Sorry. No. Christianity before country. Absolutely. Sorry. the thing is, once you create that, then the country seems to it folds into place anyway. It just happens. It's not the other way around, Jeff.
Anyway, we're going off topic, aren't we? Now, Willie Mack says, would it matter if a deal was done, as we need desperately to get rid of the socialist, despicable, incompetent Labour Party? Well, I'll say they're socialist, they're despicable, but they're not incompetent. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly where they're taking us and where they want to take us and how they're going to do it. And this is how they do it. But they know what they're doing. So, yeah, but I agree with the overall thing. Would it matter? It depends on what the final aim of whoever is in charge is. If it's not a Christian society or a Christian-based society in the UK, is it where we want it to go? Is it where I want it to go? Probably not. But there you go. Here's a good.
Go on.
Here's a good one. The Time Traveller says, trust none of them, get rid of all political parties and have just communities running themselves. We don't need politicians or parliament. Yeah,
that's the way it was.
The problem we have, though, that in a modern world with modern communications and modern types of warfare, we do need a way of defending ourselves. We can't just say, I don't care if it's outside my village. I don't care if people get slaughtered, because that's not. You want to defend yourself at the best border, and the best border for an island nation is the water around it, although it should be. So maybe we need to be looking at creating communities that work within a sort of an economic size that makes them viable. And most economists I've sort of seen in the past have said the UK is about the right size, but we just got a few too many people at the moment for some reason or other. Maybe if we had just a few less people, we could make this a really vibrant and going concern. But to do that, you have to have the people must have a general view that matches each other about the society they want to live in, the direction they want to take. At the moment, a lot of us were thinking we were going that way, but there is a growing number of people in this country who are pulling in another direction. And their pulling is like a tug of war. They are actually coordinated in pulling us that way. Think about it. They're coordinated in it while we're all mucking about on the centre right. We'll pull that way, this way. Oh, who's in charge? And that's the problem. We're going to be pulled by a minority because we can't pull together.
Yes. Comment here by Super's Wingfire saying that Bob seemingly doesn't seem fazed by the demographic replacement given his recent Twitter exchanges. I think that's okay. So Bob actually addressed that during the Winston Marshall interview, because what he was saying was quite clear that his position is, oh yes, come to Britain, welcome to Britain. Join in though. If you don't act, because it's between the host and the guest, we're a welcoming host. But if the guest is a bit naughty, off you go. Goodbye. And they soon get the message. Oh, we're not. We have to behave ourselves when we go to Britain. Oh, let's see how many people actually come then. Let's see how many come then if they realise
he was actually he was
okay.
actually very firm on this. There is a contract basically between, if you're going to say we will put guests at the centre when they come, we will treat them well, we'll do this and this for them and give them things, then they have to be good guests in return. He said that quite clearly. You can't come into this country and take the pee out of us and rob us and do all sorts of things because you're Christian and you have to turn the other cheek. This is a big misnomer. No, you don't have to do that. If they come in and do that, you have every right to throw them out, get rid of them, deal with them, whatever it takes. So yes, it's all about who is the landlord and who is the guest. We're the landlords.
Yes.
A lot of people are guests, and they should remember they are guests.
Another good point that he made. Yeah, no, it was brilliant. And the other thing which really stuck out to me as well was about conservatism. Now that was an interesting point that he made. I'd never really thought of it like that, but because we always equate today in the modern age conservatism being having a default setting of being Christian, but that's not the case. And he was right. When you do dig down into conservatism, you might have church and state, but Christianity is not there as well. It's a very strange one. It's like in a way, it's almost like nationalist Christianity, a nationalist Christian, as opposed to a Christian nationalist. And we are talk. This is all starting to sound a bit like the People's Front of Judea or the Judean People's Front. Yeah, but I can see the distinction. I can really see the distinction. Yeah. Very, very much worthwhile watching. That was. Anyway, Jeff.
Yeah, a lot of people are pointing towards Rupert Lowe, as Treeborer does. Yes, Rupert Lowe is the man with the strongest and best vision, but he's not even a party. Therefore, it has to be reform until a better option comes up. Now, I went through Rupert's timeline. I go through it quite regularly, and I went through it this morning. A lot of strong ideas, a lot of, there's no mucking about here. It's clear speaking. This is what I think. And that's what we need. And that's another thing that Bob talks about in his interview with Winston Marshall. It's all about freedom of expression. We need freedom of expression, proper freedom of expression. It seems that the country that invented Speaker's Corner doesn't seem to like speakers anymore. But Rupert Lowe does stick to his guns. And I agree with you. But the trouble is, his Restore movement is a movement. He's never going to be voted in as anything other than himself. He's an independent. I just wish he and Ben Habib could get back together again. And then,
we'll see.
It's
Time will tell.
So difficult.
Time will tell. I mean, Hekakane 4108, Advance UK and Restore Britain, join both now. I agree. I totally agree. Even if you're going to ultimately end up voting reform, it's so important that you join these groups and support them. Jeff and myself are Advance members and Restore members. Actually, hang on a second. I'm not sure if I've joined Restore. I'm not entirely sure if I have. I better. Sounds a bit hypocritical. I think I better go and do it if I haven't. Anyway, there we go. But I do recommend you do join. It's one of those things you do. Did I actually send that? Did I actually press send on that one? I remember going through the thing. Yeah. Sometimes that does happen with me. It's like when I nearly didn't join the Free Speech Union.
Yeah, Richard.
Yes.
There is someone we are missing. Look at that comment.
Well, that's a very good comment indeed.
Yes.
Nick Tenconi has done some incredible stuff. He's not for everybody, but that might change. It's all down to Overton windows, you see, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens in this country next few years. Everything's up for grabs. And this is why we've said we need to have a uniting of the right. Now, Farage is... Now, here's the interesting thing, okay, about this whole thing with the Tories and Farage. Maybe both things can be true. Maybe what the Guardian and the FT are saying can be true at the same time as what Farage is saying can be true. So there'll be no merger as such of the Tories and Reform. However, after the May elections, there may be a collapse of the Tory party, in which case, what is left of the Tory party will be absorbed into Reform. So that is technically a merger. Is it a merger or is it not a merger? I don't know. What do you think, Jeff?
I don't know. Very difficult one. I don't think there's going to be many mergers going on right now. I think Nigel Farage has now said, this is where we're going. This is how we're going to do it. And talking outside of that box is now going to be harder, I think. And it's going to affect membership. It's going to affect defections, and it's going to affect donors. I'm sure that Nigel will have taken soundings, made a few phone calls before he put that X post out. He doesn't do things off the cuff, as far as I'm aware, things like that. So he may have made a few phone calls just to cement his position, I suppose. But I still think it's going to put a bit of a dampening on things like that. Yeah, as Mark Chapman says, vote for Reform first, join Advance or Restore Party or UKIP. And Exo Submariner says, hello Submariner, fellow Submariner. Reform is our only hope. Advance will just split the vote and leave the door open for Labour. Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning, was we got to be careful with this.
Yes,
Timing is everything at the moment.
Absolutely. Let's see where we are come the next general election. That's the thing. I mean, if Advance is in a good position, absolutely. That's it. Look, most of us, I think, watching this now would rather have Advance, Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe forming the next government. That there's no two ways about it. But here's the thing: if they're not ready, we're just going to see on what Poland says, and we've got to see what deals Farage would do at that point. Would he stand down from reform? Would he allow a takeover by Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib? Would he allow it for the betterment of the nation, for the good of the nation? Well, that wouldn't be very clever, would it? As I said before, if Nigel Farage isn't careful, he could end up being the most hated politician in Great Britain for a number of reasons. If he does become Prime Minister and doesn't deliver upon the will of the British people, he will be more hated than Keir Starmer. And at the same time, if there is a surge in popularity with Rupert Lowe, and he hypothetically joined Advance UK, and they started to surge in the polls, and Farage wouldn't step aside, because if it was clear that Advance was really, really biting on the heels, there's so many scenarios. This is why we have to have these conversations. What it'll end up as, we don't know. Look, at the end of the day, do you know what, ladies and gentlemen? It's all a load of crap, isn't it? Let's face it. It's all a load of nonsense. It's absolute bull. How can we take any of this seriously? And again, I agree with Bob of Speaker's Corner. We need somebody to come in strong to sort this out. We shouldn't have the current situation at the moment in terms of politics. It's a joke. It's a total joke. We need to have a strong Christian nation again. That's how you change everything from the ground up, literally from the ground up, from our moral roots. That's where we start. Jeff.
Yeah, Andrew DB says regions are already pulling in different directions, Jeff, due to demographics. I'll be happy to have a northeast referendum to leave London control. The demographics is spreading and they're in their cities. You're having to be pulling away from other cities. It's not so much the demographics I'm talking about, the demographics of culture. We're allowing our culture to be split apart and to be trodden into the dirt by people who want any other culture except British culture in Britain or in the UK. And those are the people that are the most dangerous. And we must.
Well, let's go back a little back in time. And I hate to be doing the Bob of Speaker's Corner's fanboy thing today, right? But there was a quote, I'm just going to quote him here, about it says, make your choice, people. And this is where he says on X, Christendom, these are the choices, okay? Christendom, racial apartheid, or Sharia. Those are your three choices. Christendom, racial apartheid, balkanized Britain, or, Sharia, apartheid, whatever, balkanized Britain, apartheid, and Sharia. Just think about this, right? Because these are the decisions we have. And Christendom is actually a beautiful thing when you think about it. Many of us are looking across at Poland and we're going, oh, wow, look. Yeah, it's like, look at Christendom. Yeah, isn't it lovely? The Romanian markets even. Do you know what, years ago people said, we don't want, we don't want those Romanians coming over here. Now we're looking at Romania going, oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? It's better than Britain right now. Wow. No, this is serious. This is effing serious. We have absolutely lost this country. And if we don't start doing something soon, we're knackered. And the decision has to be made. Are we going to be part of Christendom? Okay, England, whatever, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Britain, whatever. Yes, important constructs. But the main construct, which all these things need to be laid upon, is Christendom. That comes first. When that happens, all of a sudden, the diversity bollards disappear. We have our Britain back.
Yes. Kenzie 2022 says, in Wales, they've made sure that Farage won't get in or any other party, and they have stitched up the farmers. Yeah, they have changed the electoral system, haven't they, in Wales, for the next set of elections there. I'm not sure what effect it's going to have. I did have a look at it, and I was trying to think it through and see if it would benefit the left more than the right, and I'm not so sure. At the end of the day, if the left have made such a complete horlicks of the whole place and mucked everything up, they are not going to get enough votes for any electoral system to help them really, or to game, I don't think. But yeah. And this is a good point. Cara96 says, when the Electoral Commission process finishes, I suspect we will see defections to Advance. Isn't it funny how this Advance UK electoral process seems to be dragging on a bit? I know it's only a few months ago, but I'm sure that Jeremy Corbyn's Your Party went from birth to, 18 years old in seconds. It just happened. The Electoral Commission, it just sort of became a party. And it didn't seem, it just seems that, maybe I'm just being biased, but it seems that Advance UK's application is taking far longer than it should. But that's just me.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that shows how much of a threat they could potentially be. As I said in yesterday's live stream, one of yesterday's live streams, a recent poll has showed that 10% of this country, if Rupert Lowe was leader of a party, would vote for that political party. Oh, interesting. Or was in a political party, or leader. I think it was leader. I can't remember. Now, that says a lot. Now, imagine what would happen if Rupert Lowe joined Advance. Then you've got the coming together with Ben Habib. And who else? Well, of course, you've got Tommy in the movement as well. He's going to bring a lot of people over. I mean, these are names that people trust. And yeah, I mean, then, of course, you've got Jeff and myself there. So we're going to bring, so you can add another 20% on top of that.
What, who for, though? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Viper says that Reform is definitely the Tory party. And a lot of people have been saying that.
Yeah.
And then people are saying that in 5 to 10 years, Advance may become viable. But right now, it's Reform or Labour. Actually, it's not, is it? Labour's sinking. It's the Greens that are coming through.
Well, yes.
And the Lib Dems.
No, it's a
They're
coalition.
even more dangerous than Labour.
Yes, it's a coalition. And imagine a coalition, incidentally, led by the Greens. Oh! Now, this is where we have to, and this is where, we have to ask ourselves, egos have to be set aside for the good of this country. The amount of times I've seen Rupert Lowe even congratulating Farage, we're giving credit when credit is due. And you think, yes, and he said, I'll set aside personal differences for the good, this was a good move. Well done. That's positive. Do you ever see that in reverse? Do you ever see Farage saying, oh, I really I'd like what Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib are saying here, so for the good of the country? No, there's none of that. No. Anyway, who's actually running Reform? That's what I want to know. Because I'm deadly serious here. I'm convinced Mohammed Zia Youssef has got a bigger part in that party than we're told.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. At the same time, if there's an election tomorrow, who are you going to vote for? We're out of options. That's the hideous thing. We're out of options. And with all the best will in the world, if Advance is not ready, and if it's not quite there, say if it's an election next year, for instance, then I wouldn't be able to vote for them, and I wouldn't be recommending anyone to do it, because it could be splitting the vote and allowing Labour back in. But, in 4 years' time, we could be looking at a very different scenario. We really could. Don't forget how quickly, and it was Ben Habib, don't forget how quickly he took Reform, because I think it was Ben Habib who actually got Reform the electoral push that they had prior to the last general election. Farage just turned up.
Yeah.
And the gain in popularity of Reform was not down to Farage, it was down to the lack of popularity of Keir Starmer. That's the fact of the matter.
Yes. Now, Billy Gray says, I'm absolutely amazed Jeff and Richard could ever put their faith in any politician. I don't put faith in politicians. I look at what they say and what they do and make a measured sort of decision as to who I'm going to back. But if I see them going wrong, be in no doubt that I'll be on their back, that we will be talking about it on this channel pointing fingers and putting the needle in and saying, you didn't say you'd do that, get back on track. Be in no doubt, we'll be doing
more to
that.
the point, you're not if you're not representing the British people, the will of the British people, go away. But you do have a point there, in terms of, I wouldn't say I have faith in any politician. I have no faith in the political system, particularly. I really don't. But whilst there is a window or the slim chance that we can affect change via it, I will be trying to push this country in the right direction. Literally in the right direction.
Yeah. Now, the Kawasaki kid says no political personality has the balls to take on the senior civil service. Now, if you remember, the Tories did try that on during their years, especially around about the time of the pandemic. Do you remember them trying to sack senior civil servants, putting them out to grass, getting rid of them from the top of certain places? I think they shifted a couple, but that's about all they could manage. The system is so gamed that everybody thinks we have an independent, impartial civil service, that when the new lot come in, they will do exactly as they're told, put out the right orders, make sure it all works properly. No, they've been completely taken in by the march through the institutions, the Marxist march through the institutions, and they run the civil service to run the country. And we do need people strong enough to go in there and start sacking people. That's what it's going to take. And I think the only way we're going to achieve that is if we can get people in from day one and get advisors in. So if a political party like in America, I think now, because we got a politicized civil service, we must now be able to, new parties must be able to bring their own advisors and executive department in with them to take over all the departments and run it the way the party wants it, the winning party wants to make it run. Anybody who says, that would be, throw their hands up in horror. What we've had is a civil service doing their own thing and ignore. Why do you think manifestos are ignored? Why do you think new laws come from nowhere? Where do you think they come from? They come from the WEF and the UN through the civil service. Politicians sits down and they're told this is the plan. Oh, we can't do that. I'm sorry, we are doing it. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to stop me? And no one at the moment has managed to do that. But I mean, actually, what's his name? Oh dear, who's the guy the Tories got rid of? What's his name? The advisor they got rid of, the big guy. Really, the guy that was in Number 10 giving his press conference and about the pandemic and driving with his eyes and all that. What's his name? I can't remember.
Oh, here we go. This is called old age, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeff Memory, yeah.
Jeff Memory. This is Jeff Memory.
His name will come to me. Dominic Cummings.
Yes, of course.
Dominic Cummings. He came out with a plan for attacking the civil service from day one, and you have to have it all set out in train. Now, Advance UK has got a good plan in that they will produce all the laws that they are going to pass in Parliament and put it in a manifesto. And if everybody votes for it, no one in the civil service can say, no, you can't do that, because it's law, because it's in the manifesto, all laid out, all the laws. I think that's a good move, but we'll see.
Yes, but here, I've got to pick this comment up here. No political personality has the balls to take on the senior civil service. I think Nick Tanconi does, definitely. Rupert Lowe, definitely. And I would also say I have heard things also as well from Ben Habib that he would sort this out. So there is the will. It's just that in the main sort of uni party, we're not seeing any political. You're absolutely correct on that matter. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I've got to say that having watched Rupert Lowe, he's in Parliament and he's in these committees and stuff. And you can see he is holding them to account and he is making inroads. So I think he definitely, if he had the power, would be one of those that took them on. Here we go. Someone has said Ben has been giving updates on Advance, and he's saying it's very possible and should have good news soon. So I'm hoping, yeah. I mean, he will be talking to the Electoral Commission probably on a daily basis. If I was in his position, I would
good
be.
news. Yeah.
When is it happening? When has it been happening?
Yeah, this is fantastic news. At the end of the day, as I said, Advance UK are the political party holding. Not just Reform UK, but the Tories holding their feet to the fire. That's what they're doing. And eventually, you never know. I mean, nobody thought anyone could take on that Farage, and well, not Farage, I should definitely not say Farage, that Reform could not take on the Tories. And now look where we are. So don't write Advance off for the future. We don't know what's going to happen. And we don't know what's going to happen with Reform. You know, we've got a few years left yet. The establishment could totally decimate it, or they could implode from within. Farage could somehow stand down, and Mohammed Zia Yusuf could end up as party leader. That's Reform done. That's them over then. That would happen. It would collapse them. People don't want him. I have heard him say a few things, and I've gone, oh, that was very well said. I just don't trust you. I remember what happened with Rupert Lowe. I don't trust Mr. Mohammed Zia Yusuf. Sorry.
No. And nothing ever came out of that, did it? Out of those accusations against Rupert Lowe. I'm not even sure there was an apology, but there you go. Bart Connolly says, do Scottish and Irish have their own culture? Yes, they do, in their own way. But the one thing is that their cultures used to marry up with a whole United Kingdom sort of culture, as it were. In that, have you seen how many Scottish and Irish, especially Northern Irish, soldiers, sailors and airmen put their lives on the line for this country, time after time? They were always there, backing the country. So as far as I'm concerned, their culture is the same as ours in that way. But if you get where I'm coming from, it's whether you're backing the country. But there is this big. There used to be a Christian underlying in both of those countries, as well as in England, that made us move in that direction, and we looked at the world in that through that prism. Anyway,
that's absolutely correct.
Here's some
Christendom. Yeah.
Here's something that's quite interesting. Kemi dropped it casually in the budget that we may need a robot tax. I'm like, there ain't no maybe about it. Absolutely. If robots start taking jobs, tax them so that people can sit around and not do anything because the robots are doing everything. But then at the end of the day, who's getting paid to make stuff? This is going to turn out to be a very, very
people don't make stuff. That's the point.
Conversation. Going forward. If people don't make stuff, if people don't make stuff, yes. Yeah. So they don't make stuff.
That's very close, by the way.
How do they buy stuff? They've got to be paid by the robots who are making the stuff, so that the people can pay the robots who don't use money to make the stuff. Isn't that strange?
You don't pay the robots. the robots come at a cost.
Who do you pay then?
What you mean? At what point?
Well, if the
at what point of medium exchange?
No. If you have to tax people money, if you have to tax robots money to give to the people, that's what the argument is.
You don't tax
the robots.
I don't think we should tax robots. I think that's just silly. No. I mean, they're not workers, but they are doing the work, if you see what I mean. You don't tax a combine harvester for doing the work it's doing. It's all down to perception. The robot is an extension of a physical embodiment of AI in many respects. All very scary, by the way. I'm not saying I'm looking forward to this, but you just have to be realistic about the way that the system's going. I've been doing, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, I've done a lot of sort of looking into AI and the future jobs market, and it does look as if, yes, we are very, very quickly losing our jobs to AI. And when you say robots and AI, it's one and the same, okay? There is no distinction. It's just, as I said, the physical embodiment of the AI. Yeah, AI is already taking a heck of a lot of jobs. And the creative industries are being hit really hard. Very strange. I mean, you can look at, I mean, right now, these AI videos are getting so good. You have to really pinch yourself to be able to see what's real and what's not. I've seen some very, very convincing AI video of late. And I've been like, oh, right, okay, no, I'm really, and I'm really observant on these things. I'm finding it difficult to tell the difference. Very difficult.
Anyway, back to task. Rupert Lowe will make a bid to take over the Conservative Party, says Mirror. He would have to join the Tory party, become an MP in the Tories. So that means defecting to them, taking the whip, and then kowtowing to what the cabinet says, so that he'd have to work his way back into it and up the ranks, and then he would have to stand for leadership and all that sort of thing. It's not like it's going to happen overnight.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that is going to happen.
No, because the structure of the Tory party itself would prevent him from, I think it would prevent him from actually becoming party leader, even though he'd be the favourite amongst a lot of the supporters. The problem therein is there's this, oh God, what was that selection process where MPs have to, very strange selection process they have, don't they? And we have to remember there's a lot of people still in the Tory party who are left-wing Remainers. That's the other side of it. There's a lot of,
you got to remember,
liberal lefties in the Tory party.
Yeah, all the people that might support Rupert Lowe are now in Reform.
Exactly. I mean, who owns Reform right now? Technically, isn't it Farage and Mohammed Zia Youssef together?
No, it's run by.
Or is it?
It's run by a charity company, set up as a proper political party sort of thing. But their own. I think there's only 2 shareholders, but no one owns it anymore. So there's no shareholders as such. There's directors, but not shareholders. It's a bit complicated. I'd have to look into it again, but they did set up a company to do just that.
I believe.
And then because of it's weird.
Yeah, I
maybe
do believe
we need a separate set of rules for setting up. Political parties have to be set up this way, because at the moment you can set them up any way you like, and then everything becomes smoke and mirrors, it seems.
Yeah, but I do recall there being sort of joint stewardship at the very least between Mohammed Zia Youssef and Nigel Farage. They are basically in control of the party. And do you know what? I sort of get that you'd have one person, if you had enough of a vision, trying to steer a ship through. I get it. It's not democratic, though, so you can't pretend to be a democratic party at that point in time. And that was very much Ben Habib's bugbear with Reform, as the democratic setup of the Reform itself. Jeff.
Yeah, I'm just going to look up on the Companies House website just to see whether I can work out what's going on at the moment with Reform UK. Reform UK Limited has been dissolved. Reform 2025 Limited used to be Reform UK. Reform UK Party Limited used to be Reform 2025. So I think Reform UK Party Limited is now the one that's in force.
Who are the directors?
I'm looking. There's a couple there. Charlton Edwards and Peter Durnell. Nigel Farage. Mohammed Ziyadin Yusuf. Oh, he's resigned.
Oh.
So it just seems to be the 3. But but this is the thing, you see, you go through persons with significant control. The company knows or has reasonable cause to believe that there is no registrable person or registrable relevant legal entity in relation to this company. And that was 18th of February 2025. But they have been swapping names around with these companies. So, yeah. You have to go back
Yes.
through the history of the companies to see when they changed names, who the directors were and are, to get your head around it. That's why I think there should be a different system. Using this seems very antiquated and very clunky to run something like a political party where total transparency is required. But that's just me. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. Just a bit of going through the Companies House website. Just what we need to be doing on Wednesdays, isn't it?
Well, we try to be methodical.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah. Advance has only been going for 6 months, says Vaughan Newton, and has over 40,000 members. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's
that is
growing
a
as
lot.
well. It's growing.
Yeah. That is not to be sniffed at under any circumstances. I mean, I think it's remarkable. In fact, I can't believe how underplayed Advance are in the media, the mainstream media and the press. Well, I can believe it, actually, trying to keep it down. But, I mean, that's not, what's that? Is that a quarter of Reform's leadership membership? And don't forget, Farage took over to the Brexit Party, a load of members who then went over to become Reform. There's so much in this. But for something which has basically just had a little bit of a, tally-ho, chaps, we're just starting a new party. We're not quite there yet. Yet it's still got 40,000 members. That's quite a feat. I mean, I can't remember how many Corbyn and Zara Sultana's Your Party gibberish have got. Quite a few, but we were going to expect them to get quite a few. But I'm not sure if they're paid members. That's the difference. This is 40,000 paid members, if I'm not mistaken, which is very interesting.
Yes, as far as I'm aware, yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and when you compare to the Jeremy Corbyn, whatever it is, I'm not entirely sure if they are paid members at the moment. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me because there is a sort of a good section of society that needs sectioning probably, and they've all joined your party. Yeah, and they need to have a political home for the absolutely insane, as not insane, but
the
bonkers. And this is not having a go at people's mental health either, because I'm absolutely insane. And just this is, God, you got to be so careful with terminology and words these days.
You have, because Katie Hopkins was nearly done for calling herself something. I'm that as well, she said, and they had a go at her.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like
the word she used was
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry. You just I if I ever caused offence to anyone, I'm really sorry. Right, that's out of the way.
Anyway, Andrew DB says, would it be possible to create a breakaway parliament then if the mass majority voted for one of those parties? The monarch would have to swear them in or ignore the true will of the people and end the monarchy. Now, why create a breakaway parliament unless you can't get voted into parliament because you are ostracised, hounded by the establishment, not allowed to run a party, locked up for dissent, and like they do in places like, I don't know, Russia and China and all those sorts of places. Although, it got to be said that in this country we do have more people locked up for saying things, don't we, than Russia and China and Iran and all the rest of them.
And North Korea, yes, we do. Yes. Sorry, Keith R.I.P. Are both of you veterans? Great show. And thank you for your super chat there. Jeff is a veteran. I'm just he is ex-Navy. I am a veteran of life, we'll say. Yeah.
Yes.
Just ordinary
Thank
life.
you, Keith.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in the Scouts.
Yes.
Briefly.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah. But
What
thank
does
you.
that say?
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, Exo Submariner says, Jacob Rees-Mogg took on the civil servants working at home, but he got shot down. Yes, they've all tried it, haven't they? I mean, Jacob Rees-Mogg went round leaving notes on people's desks, didn't he, and all sorts of things. Now, it's going to take more than leaving letters on people's desks when they've got used to working from home. Yes.
That's very true.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to make some of these comments. Yeah, as Carl Norman says, there is a problem here in that the amount of Tories defecting to it makes it a proxy party at minimum,
Yes,
as does
yeah,
a merger. And
spot on.
these are the fears that people have. Now, you could argue that the Tory party stopped being the proper Tory party ages ago and has become, the pink-haired Liberal Party. And then therefore the people who are going to reform are probably the right people to put in reform, if you sort of. There is an argument to be made for that, but there is also the argument that they were willing to live inside a left-wing Tory party for so long that you can't trust them. And that is probably nearer the mark. They were quite happy to put up with it, taking the money or whatever, and then they moved across. So, yeah.
But didn't Farage himself say, I'm not sure if he said he wanted to take over or something of the Tory party. There was something along those lines, but I might be wrong. So
he wants to destroy it, he said. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he did say that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he is trapped, either way, if you think about it, because when you think what's going on, he's either lying to donors or he's lying to supporters and the grassroots. And I think with this merger, this alleged merger that is being reported in the FT and in the Guardian and other places at the moment. Yeah. Yes.
Now, Bart Connolly says not just civil service, quangos and semi-state companies.
Yeah.
Yes, the quangos. It's quite funny that how much power quangos have, and the Labour Party has put a load more quangos in place. This is a way for MPs and ministers to wash their hands of anything and just move the blame over there. It's them. They're in charge of that, not us. When in fact that means it's non-democratic. Quangos are not subject to democracy. The only time that democracy might even infiltrate is when they need to change the CEO of it or something, or the chairman, and maybe MPs get to choose the new one. That's it. Or not even MPs, ministers of the day, who put people in that makes the quango work the way they want it to work, but without accountability through the ballot box. These quangos have to go. They have to go. They need to be shut down and all that stuff brought back under political control so that we can see transparently who runs the ruddy things, where's the money coming from, and who's making the decisions and what are those decisions. We need to see this. It's no good because they tried to. We're going to depoliticize it. We're going to take the politics out of X, Y, and Z. They set up a quango called NHS England. Did that take the politics out of the NHS? No, it never takes the politics out of things. It just diverts the blame or makes a minister resign for something they never had any hand in anything of doing. And the people who did have a hand in doing it get away scot-free with a massive pension. It's this sort of thing that has to end. And that's why the civil service need more accountability within the civil service. If they're going to play politics with us, we need to have a way of making them accountable, the people who are having those games played on them.
Spot on, Jeff.
Anyway, Deborah Dennick says, as a Christian, I only vote for those that represent my views closely. I have no faith in any political party personality. My faith in Christ alone. Yeah, that should be sort of forming our voting habits. If anyone just turns around and says, Christianity doesn't matter, religion doesn't matter, go into the areas where a certain demographic resides and tell them to their faces that their religion does not matter. Try it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the job of the state. That's the job of the state as far as I'm concerned. We need to have, we need to have this as a Christian country again. End of. No other religion, no other belief system.
Sorry, Richard. What I'm saying is that if you, as a general UK person, thinks that religion doesn't matter and it has no consequence on your life,
Oh, I see
go
what
into
you're
one
saying.
of those
Oh,
areas
yes.
and
Oh, yes.
tell them that religion doesn't matter.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
does.
the funny thing is, the funny thing is, you could say that to a Christian and be like, "Oh, right, okay, tally ho, off you go, whatever." But there's other demographics in certain areas. If you try doing that, oh my days, it would be a little bit. Yes. Oh, Vixter's here as well. Good morning, Jeff and Richard. Made it. I hope you're doing well there. And I'd just like everyone to pray for Vixter here and to send our prayers and love to her. She's a bit of an ordeal she's had of late. So absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the comment. I can't find it. Anyway, because I've got so many to scroll through. Tracy M says, I think the Labour Party were made by Elon Musk. Yes, well, they might be a bunch of AI. Actually, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves must be AI the way they speak, mustn't they?
Right, here's wait. What if that's not just a humorous thought? I mean, I've watched enough sci-fi in my life, usually comedy sci-fi, incidentally, in this sort of scenario. But what if Starmer and Rachel Reeves are actually AI they're robots? If that came out, if it was released, somebody, big expose in the Daily Mail that they are robots. I mean, would you feel surprised, Richard, at that one? It would be like, that makes perfect sense.
It would just prove how crap AI is, because they're just malfunctioning AI, aren't they? Really, that's all they are. They're just malfunctioning.
Well, don't forget Ed Miliband. Do you remember that disastrous interview? Oh, I'd love to find that again. He was asked the same question and he was probed around it, and then he was asked different questions, but he kept on giving the same reply. And I was like, good grief, this is absolutely insane. Yes.
He was on a loop, wasn't he?
Yeah. It was absolutely terrifying.
Yes. Melly Brown asks, funny how politicians, many of whom enter politics with a modest portfolio, leave as millionaires on MP salaries. I don't know how true that is. I've not seen it myself. But I know it happens in America a lot. It seems to happen a lot in America. And it seems to happen a lot in Russia and Ukraine as well, places like that. So you make your own mind up about that particular one.
Oh, it happens in Britain. I mean, look at the speaker's circuit. I mean, look at Boris Johnson. He made an absolute fortune.
Oh, yeah, but
that's
yeah, but that's legitimate. If you're on a speaker's circuit, people can see you doing things. It's not like I'm going to do an underground speech at somewhere which no one will listen to, and I get paid £1 million. That's different.
I'm not so sure about that. I think you'll find that.
If you go,
I'm not saying Boris Johnson did that.
I'll give some secret speeches. I'll give some secret speeches for £1 million.
And I will. Yeah, absolutely. I'll make half
the
of it.
The offer's out there.
Yeah.
And if you go on the register of interests, well, it's easy enough. You just put an MP's name in and put the MP's name, register of interest, and it'll take you. Your search engine will take you to their register of interest, and you can read up on all the things they get up to outside of their MP's life. Some have got absolutely nothing in them. Now, which one was it I put it in? Was it Jacob Rees-Mogg has got nothing in his? Whereas Richard Tice, Nigel Farage, Jeremy Corbyn, Rupert Lowe have got lots and lots and lots in theirs, but it's all laid out, even down to the a couple of them have got the hourly rate they get from various places, so you can see how much they earn on an hourly basis. So it's rather strange, actually, because the reason I was doing that, I was looking up Tulip Siddique's register of interest, because she's just recently been the Bangladeshi government have sentenced her to 2 years inside for property fraud. And we're meant to say alleged, but for some reason, she's been convicted and of the crime and sentenced to 2 years inside. I looked at her register of interests and it looked a bit empty, considering everything that everyone was saying about her. So obviously all those stories are wrong. Otherwise it would be in her register of interests, wouldn't it? But there you go. Aha. Here we have it. T1000 says Starmer is a Dalek. Yes.
Well, funnily enough, I've just watched. That's strange. I was watching. I saw a Rachel Reeves doctored video where she's giving one of her speeches and her lower half is Dalek. Yeah. It's one of those video memes things going around.
Yes.
Yeah. She's
Wonderful.
quite aggressive. I mean, I have heard. I don't know if you've heard her speak. Sometimes there's quite a bit of anger and it's like, oh, good grief. It does sound like a bit like exterminate. Ah, yeah, Vixter. Thank you, Richard. Neck surgery yesterday.
Yeah.
Of the car accident.
Yeah.
A drunk illegal from Colombia smashed into me. The police said he was doing 70 miles per hour. So here I am. Oh, Vixter. I'm so sorry to hear. I hope you're getting better.
And just before Christmas as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get well soon.
Yeah, get well soon there. God bless you.
Dantic said you get denied treatment in Scotland if you have no photo ID. Well, that surprises me. I thought they just treated everybody. I thought everybody in Scotland just turns up for health care there. Because they're left-wing and woke, aren't they?
Yes, but
anyway,
left-wing
Richard.
and woke does mean authoritarian as well. That's the other side of it. Authoritarian, Okay, so
yes.
right, we're off. I see that. I can tell by that tone, Jeff. Right, Richard. I want
hungry.
lunch.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. There we go. I knew that was coming. Right, you lot. Okay, now you know what I'm going to say. If you haven't already pressed the like button, there's something wrong with you. And so I think you'd better go and rectify that terrible misdeed or deed that you haven't done. Anyway, sort it out. Press the like button, please. Thank you. And
Yes.
please subscribe to the channel because then you get, and click the all option when you subscribe. Then you get a notification each time we put out a new video. Hopefully, fingers crossed. There's that. And also, and if you really do love the Jeff Taylor channel, you enjoy what we do, then please become a channel member. You do get a bit of extra content, all for the price of a pint of beer in a London pub or a coffee in Hay-on-Wye. Yeah. Jeff.
That's expensive.
Yes.
Yes. And on that note, I shall say for now, it's goodbye from me.
And we shall see you later on, hopefully at about 5:45. We might be moving that to a 7 o'clock slot in the future. But for now, we will see you at 5:45, 5:45, 5:45. So it's goodbye from Mr. Jeff Taylor, the legend himself. Goodbye.